All right, Mark. Do you know why I reached out to you?
I think it was based off um, the Rich Ryan video.
It was. Why don't you tell folks just what that was in that video?
So yeah,
What caused you, Mark Day, to stop, record a video, pick
yeah.
up your microphone, and talk to
Mhm.
the people? What inspired you?
I think it's really frustration, Matt. It's. I also did a video on Lauren Weeks' lunge walks previously.
I think I saw that one as well. I actually talked to Lauren about that when I interviewed Lauren.
Yeah, it's just out of frustration. I think with the application of the rules, and I think people almost in the comments seem to think that I'm getting on at the judges, and it's not that. That's not the point. That's the point, is not to go at the judges. It's more to, let's talk, as a community, as HYROX, as a business, as a sport, as an event. Let's tighten that up so we don't have these talking points. We all know that the end goal currently of the HYROX team is to go towards the Olympics, and if that's sort of where they're aiming, then I think these sort of things really need to be tightened up. So yeah, I think it was frustration really that sort of prompted me to make the video.
Well, for the record, I think the Olympics is a silly thing. I just
Mhm.
because I dealt with it for over a decade in OCR, and like
Yeah,
this North Star of the Olympics to me is like I've said before, when Mo said it at before the World Champs last year and said it was a dream, I was like, it's the wrong dream, man.
yeah,
Like, put on the best fitness race that's ever lived, which you have so far, and grow it globally, and you've created a movement. Everything that's come out of it, like they've done a great thing for the world. Like, have that be the goal. But listen, if we make the Olympics, I'm sure I'll show up. But
yeah.
who the fuck knows? But anyway, just I needed to get that out of the way, just for
Mhm.
new listeners.
Yeah,
So the 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 problem is the uniformity that we're not quite we're I think we seem to be missing, right? So
yeah.
if it was if it was called really uh if we saw similar things being called across the board, but we see it sort of jump all over the place.
Mhm.
And what Dave said on the show last week was, if you look at Rich's, one might say you can't tell from that angle, but one
Mhm.
could say they look the same as the previous 20. And so
Mhm.
that's the problem. It's like,
Yeah,
well, they're either all bad or they're all good. And
yeah.
that was the part that was missing.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. I agree, and I also think I've been coaching now for 30 years, 30 plus years. I've been in the game for a long time, and there are certain points on any given movement that you can look and recognize and see the bounce from the bottom of the squat. For one, it's you don't need. A lot of comments have said, you've got a bad angle from the front when you're on camera, or the best angle is from the side. That's absolute, it's rubbish. You can clearly see that.
Rubbish.
Yeah, I think the angle, when people are claiming, you cannot tell whether he's at the bottom of the squat from looking at the front at the camera, but you
Would you
can.
would you say it's not an ideal angle, and then from the
It's,
side
it's
is more advantageous?
Yeah, I agree, but I also do think that even from the side, the movement is so quick that, if you're sort of measuring hip crease to top of the knee, which is what you should be measuring, how do you get that right every single time? And I think, the movement, if you drop into the bottom of a squat, as Rich was, and now I'm just talking for Rich in this instance, he was bouncing out of the bottom of a squat. You cannot possibly bounce out of the bottom of a squat if you're not at the bottom of the squat. Does that sort of make sense a little bit? I
So
suppose
explain what would happen if you didn't.
there
If
would
the
have to
bounce,
be
because I think I know what you're saying, but
yeah,
let's go
yeah.
further down this path.
There would almost have to be a stop in movement, and then a realignment of the, let's now go up, stop, let's go up, stop, let's go up. Where if you look at Rich's, it was a sort of rebound type movement. And if you cannot get to that depth of a squat, then there has to be some part of where you stop and don't bounce out to the bottom of the squat.
Yeah, I'm 99% there. Because
Yeah,
I'm trying to sort of explain it to my own brain again and how
yeah,
you would coach this appropriately, right? Because now we're
yeah,
talking sort of in a vague term. Did they bounce or not? What's a
mhm,
bounce? And
yeah,
it's kind of like, well, you know it when you see it.
yeah,
And if you think of it, I guess more of like, I don't know, I guess if it's like a door opening, if you don't
mhm,
hit it, it's more like a
yeah, yeah, exactly.
but if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
bounce because you've
mhm,
hit the bottom,
mhm.
you've got the move, the motion, the
Yeah.
I'm sure there's better scientific terms that I can think of. Something about inertia, motion,
Mhm,
centrifugal
mhm,
force, something
mhm.
about that. There's got to be, and again, all movements are subjective, right? They all are,
Of course
right?
they are. Yeah, of
It's
course
the
they are, yeah.
person's brain, right? So we've got to figure out a way to make it uh, as close to unassailable as possible. Now, Dave says, even though we know they won't do it, Dave says give them all the box. That way, no matter what, they would hit
Mhm,
it. What do you say
mhm.
about that? Certain
Um,
height for men, certain height for women.
yeah, I think it would take away that element of uncertainty. Um, there's some sort of ego push there as well, isn't there? I don't need the box, that type of. But yeah, I suppose it would take away the uncertainty. I saw something really funny on social media the other day where what they had done, they had strapped a squeaky toy to the hip, and every time, because obviously the squeeze of the hip would have to make the squeaky toy make a noise. Now, I'm not saying that should be a squeaky toy, but could there be some sort of sensor in that area? Or I've seen, I'm not too sure. It was a maybe hybrid games or something. I have done a hybrid games, and it wasn't there when I did it, but there was one where they had an iPad and it measured your depth, and every time you reach depth or below parallel, it give you the green light. You was right back up. So maybe there's something along there, and but yeah, I don't see why the box wouldn't work.
Yeah, I think it's not good for a professional sport.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think I'm fine with it for the opens if they need
Mm.
it, right? Like people were coming in calling for the box, and that's
Yeah.
clearly because they thought it was easier. So I say don't do that.
Yeah.
Like prove you need it. But
Mhm.
it's an idea that Dave had thrown out initially.
Mhm.
Because I'm not sure I love it. I love it either.
No.
The other issue that came up specifically last night, we talked about it. I don't know if you had time to hear what we recorded just hours ago, but the
Mhm.
other issue is the judge, they actually have two
Mhm.
tasks. One, look for depth.
Yeah.
Two, press the button if they don't get it because they're looking at the top. And if the
Yeah.
top doesn't register right, they have to manually add it.
Yeah.
So kind of impossible to do both.
Agreed.
Better to have one of these, a little thumb
Yeah. Quicker.
guy,
Yeah.
and then they're just watching
Yeah.
up down.
Mm. Mhm. Yes. 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 I agree. I agree. But I do also think that um, they're called the elite 15. They're elite athletes, right? So I think there's some value in offering a little bit of integrity there as well. um um what did you think of
What
Rich Ryan's
meaning
squats?
but meaning what? When you say integrity, meaning
Almost like these athletes train for this day in, day out, twice a day, three times a day, whatever it is that they're training. And yet maybe
are you trying to say
everything.
are you trying to say that like the default should be we assume that they've hit it and it only if it's really egregious we should say they haven't? Is that what you're trying
Yeah,
to say?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's give the benefit of the doubt, and that's
Once
on.
upon
on
Yeah,
all
once upon a time that was not the case. Once upon a time you
no,
had a lot of dodgy stuff going on.
yeah,
And you still do the fewer eyes are on it, right? People
mhm,
are going to try to cut corners, but
of
in
course,
that
yeah,
race, in the elite 15, cameras everywhere,
mhm,
and I would say it has to be egregious to be given no rep. Um, I think if someone gets on the line or they're getting close, in that 100, you give them that, hey, go deeper, but you don't ding them yet. You just kind of, and then if they can't do it, and again aren't making the effort, then you ding
Mhm.
them. But
Yeah.
I don't know what's going through these people's minds. The other thing that came up last night is in professional sport, when the game begins, we announce the players and we announce the judges or the refs. Should we know who these people are?
Yeah, I've thought about this quite a bit as well, and I think obviously I don't really know the whole sort of employment line, if you like, of these. I would just assume that they are experienced judges. They all have head judge written on their t-shirt, but some of them don't act that way, right? It's like, and I think that there almost has to be, if they're not going to start employing these people directly, or offering some form of educational pathway, because other sports have it in any elite sort of sport. Soccer in the UK, the referees there, they have to go through a preseason testing, and they have to reach a standard. Should there be something along those lines? Should there be an educational pathway, a judging pipeline that can push them towards this? And if they do then want to go on and judge at the Elite 15 events, maybe there should be some sort of video sent in of you demonstrating your ability to understand the rules.
Well, it came up yesterday on the call, and this is what really, because I wasn't, when Cheryl was first saying it, I wasn't quite there yet. And I think what she was saying was kind of what you're saying is, who are these people? Is it just an employee from the office? Is it somebody's
Yep.
cousin? And I happen to have met her husband several times.
Okay.
And you look at this gentleman and spend 2 minutes with him, you'd be like, that's a head judge, right?
Mhm.
He's professional. He only speaks when he has something to say. He's bald and buff and a little scary looking. Like that helps, but
Yep.
forget that. Just who he is as a man is like integrity. Doesn't
Yep.
take shortcuts. Like that's
Yep.
like almost the opposite of me, I would say. Like I'm all over the place. Emotions on my sleeve, right? He's the opposite. So the point is he judges and they usually keep him long. Like they're like, hey, you've got a 12-hour day and he'll end up
Yep.
working extra shifts and never been an Elite 15 judge, or he was once like 4 years ago.
Mhm.
So that to me is silly. And he
Yep.
said he's got friends who were kind of that level and they never get the call, and that
Okay.
it has been brought up when there is a judging WhatsApp started. Hey, everyone that's
Yep.
coming to Phoenix, blah blah blah, and someone might ask, "How do I get to the Elite 15?" They don't even answer. So
Okay.
there's a big miss there. And
Mhm.
again, I come to HYROX's defense when I think people are being too harsh,
Yep.
and this probably is a newer problem they didn't think of, right? They're
Mhm.
so busy growing the sport, drug
Mhm.
testing, pro cards. Oh, wait, we probably need a path to the Elite 15 judging that makes sense, an online course, plus so many hours, plus,
Yep.
and maybe they're working on it and they'll dump it on us next year. We've been
Mhm.
working on it this whole time,
Yep.
but we'd like some more transparency.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree totally, because you also have the head judges in the white t-shirts, and then I don't even know what they call them, who wear all black. And every now and again, they will get involved,
Right.
and when they get involved, they seem to sort of take over and judge with complete integrity and a full understanding of the rule set. But then what happens there is you normally see these at the front of the field and impacting the front of the race. So like, are you now going and doing the same and taking over from the judges further down the field and
Six,
impacting?
7, 12th, yes.
Yeah, are you doing the same? I think it was Melbourne when Hunter was doing his burpee broad jumps. He'd been picked up a couple of times, and the referee, let's call them, dressed in black, took over from these two head judges, um, just at the point where Hunter was finishing his final burpee broad jump. And he was the one that called him back for not clearing the line. But had it been left to the two head judges, Hunter would have run away without clearing the line. It's clear that he didn't
Right.
clear the line, but he didn't know that. It
Yeah.
was just his feel.
And let me be clear, I am not expecting this level for every pro race at
No.
every, you know,
No.
10,000 man weekend, right? I'm
Mhm.
talking about the Elite 15.
Elite 15. Yeah.
You can afford to get it right.
Hmm.
Fly the
Oh, yeah.
people, train the people. Like, again, many of them are already there. Let's say,
Mhm.
because you only need so many. The men and women
Mhm.
race at different times. So it's like you only need 20 of them to get the
Mhm.
15 correct, and then having a head judge above the head judge.
Mhm.
Interestingly enough, Rich has now he turned it round where he was getting dinged for burpees once upon a time a lot. So
Mhm.
he's gotten really good to his own race time detriment, slowing down, really putting his hands down, and they'll still call it. And so he'll call over the black shirt to
Yeah.
overrule the white shirt and say,
Yeah.
"Give me fucking credit here."
Yeah.
And he famously was doing that for the wall balls. He stuck his hand up, and again,
Yeah.
I haven't asked him, but I think they talk about this. If you want to
Yeah.
judge, raise your hand,
Yeah.
and then they got it wrong and changed the wrong person.
Wrong
But
judge.
but is it somebody who doesn't like Rich? Is it somebody who just wants to make a name for themselves? Like, we don't know, and
Mhm.
because we don't see them coming forward, that doesn't help it either, right?
No.
HYROX doesn't come forward to defend them, and these
Mhm.
people don't say, "By the way, I was Rich's judge, and here's what." Because that happens sometimes. Be like, "Oh, by the
Mhm.
way, I was the judge on that." So
Yeah.
I do think a system, and again, I wouldn't expect it before now, but like now we got to get it. Now we got to
Yeah.
get it,
Yeah.
because we're at this level. I mean, next year, who knows what the money and the payouts will be,
Mhm.
right? They're already
Mhm.
getting pretty substantial, and maybe
Yeah.
they add more majors, or who knows, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, I think that, like you said, I think now is the right time. It's enough people have called it out that there's enough awareness that there is a problem there that needs to be addressed, and I think athletes are now taking this very seriously and making a living from it. And when it starts impacting people's livelihoods and that's their job, it's like let's take away that. For me, there's just too many areas in three or four disciplines where it's no longer objective; it's subjective. Um, I think, yeah, I think Rich actually alludes to it in his podcast that he spoke about it afterwards. Is that we'd agreed that because you can't hear anything, if the reps are not deep enough, you get a tap on the shin, and that's why I said on my video. Unfortunately, Rich starts getting tap on the shin because I'd heard that was the rule. But then, yeah, he starts going like this, and the guy from the Rocks Life commentator, not Greg, the other guy, I can't think of his name. He
Phil.
he says, yeah, he's saying, I think Rich is trying to stretch his arm off. And you're like, no, he's trying to call a judge. It's like if you go back and listen to it, he really does think he's trying to stretch his arm off in some way, shape, or form. He's actually just trying to call a judge, and sort of say, come and help me out here. And then he gets to the point where he just lets the ball drop and change this judge, please. Somebody help me.
Right. Please, dear God, I'm trying to beat
Yeah,
Ronco over here. All
yeah,
right,
yeah. And really
all
good.
right. Let's change the subject for a minute. You ready? Gonna move on to
Mhm.
something else. I've got
Let's go.
something in my I've got something in my hand here. It's a special
No.
surprise. Okay,
Okay.
in here, can you see this?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, well, describe what are you seeing here?
It's a Puma box.
Right.
It's got Nitro written along the front.
Right. Um, I'm not very fast. Should I wear super shoes, Mark? I've heard that there's no benefit below a certain threshold. Is that true?
No, not for me. Matt, I have run. I genuinely have at all levels. From I don't know whether you have them in the States, park run. Like a 5K that you can turn up at a local park
Yeah,
and
that's
run
never
5K
that.
for free.
Yeah, that's never quite. We have run clubs, but the
Yeah,
park
okay.
run, as you guys know it, we don't really do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real cool thing. People get a barcode, and you get your time measured, and people get T-shirts for doing 50, 100, 5. It's a great thing, and I've run from that level to I've run nationally, and I don't really take myself really too seriously. I was in the military for a long time, and that's why I was able to get to this sort of stage. Um, and I've coached for all of that time. I've probably covered 35,000 Ks on my feet. I've been running a long time, and I just think whether it be placebo for somebody or actual gains, I don't think these big Nike, Puma, these big brands would say, this is the Nike 4% shoe. It gives you 4% increase in you if it actually didn't. And we've seen in world records, it's like world records are just going season after season after season in running events. So it obviously does offer some sort of benefit. The way that it offers the benefit is the foot strike and the power that's put down on the ground, and that's going to be relevant for everybody. So if it makes you feel like you're running faster, go wear the shoes. Do what you want. It's like, don't listen to people telling you, oh, don't wear them because there's no benefit. If nothing else, you'll look cool.
Well, I actually was sent a pair of the beautiful pink shoes,
Mhm.
and honestly was a little afraid to wear them in the race because I
Okay.
didn't want people to say, "Who does this twat think he is? He's clearly not Elite 15 level. Why is he wearing these shoes?" Um, I have no idea how much faster it made me, but I
Mhm.
like them and I'll wear them
Good.
again. And they're pretty. I don't want to wear them outside and get them dirty. You know what I mean? I really like them. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
well, so I come into I'm kind of the opposite of you. I don't have any background in any of this stuff. I just started,
Okay.
I just picked up a microphone and started podcasting a bit ago,
Yep.
right? And so I sort of learn as I've gone along. So when I first started testing shoes, and you see like the next year they put out this other shoe, and the language they use is just all these like, they're made up words they use, right?
Mhm.
And I still don't understand why they feel the need to, if the way marketing works is, if you've got three different kinds of toothpaste, people will buy more toothpaste because there's, right. So I understand the basic level of,
Yeah.
but then literally every year you don't need to redo it, because sometimes, guess what, you actually get it wrong and people
Mhm.
say, I love the fours better than the fives, and now I have to go to eBay. um, and so I've never, it's like, this is what, I used to run more long distance, and people would always say, what's the best X? And I would always say, the one you use,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so you try a few different, same thing with a backpack, same thing with
Mhm.
shorts, same thing with
Mhm.
gels. Like, that's all it is, right? What do you like the best? Because
Yep.
what works for me may not work for you.
Yep.
So people say, should I race in this? I'm like, well, go train a few 100 miles in it and see how you feel. Now, that can't quite work the same with HYROX, right? Like, I'm not going to run 20 HYROXs to figure out. So what would you say to someone who said, hey, should I go with the Pumas? Or, Rich says these Asics are great. I don't know if he says Asics or not, but
Mhm.
how do you approach that as a coach?
Yeah. So I think first is comfort. Do you have experience wearing that shoe in any other discipline? If you do, how did it feel? Is it comfortable for you? Do you feel good in the shoe? Okay, let's go and push a few sleds, pull a few sleds. Farmers carry, yeah, okay. I think
Hang on,
everybody
hang on
really,
1 second. I'm sorry. My wife, my wife just, we just started letting the cat out. And so my wife was just climbing this tree basically to get the cat. Hang on a second. Everything good, honey? Okay. I was watching you. I'm on a call. Sorry. Sorry to digress. We had a cat that we lost, sadly. Okay, we got another cat, so now it's like we haven't even let her outside, but she wants to be outside.
yeah.
So we're starting to let her go outside, and she climbs trees. There's a lot of trees in our
Mhm.
yard, and she doesn't know that she can't climb to the top, so she gets a certain pit and starts crying. So anyway, I was just watching my wife navigate trying to get the cat out of the tree. It was hilarious. Go ahead. So
Did she
get
manage it?
she didn't need the ladder. The ladder's on standby. I've left the ladder
Yeah.
outside. Usually you put it back under the house. Right now the ladder's just on standby anytime we
Yeah.
need to. So go to the gym, push a few sleds, do a couple
Yeah,
workouts.
are you comfortable in them? Have you won them before? If you are, okay, let's go to the gym, push a few sleds, pull a few sleds. I think that's important. The pull, the lunge, very unstable on the lunge. Um, but yeah, apart from that, there's not a lot that can go wrong. I think every and any shoe they're trying to firm that up now. Puma definitely leading the way with that because of HYROX, trying to firm the stability up a little bit. But I think athletes would still say you do feel some instability and yeah, are they comfy? Do they work? Do they grip? Because that would be an absolute nightmare, right? Is getting to the sled pull or the sled push, and you are moving like you're on ice. That would be feet wise, not the sled, obviously. I think that would be the sort of worst case scenario.
Well, I noticed you're wearing an Under Armour hat. I just watched a video that said, "Where did Under Armour go wrong?" Like, do you watch those business videos?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have seen some. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do wear I wear Under Armour tights as well. I think they're quite quarter tights for racing. They sort of have they're really supportive around quads and things like that. So I enjoy wear them.
And what do you race in shoes wise these days?
So I normally wear Nike Alpha Fly 2s. So they're quite
Okay.
old. But yeah, I have a couple of those on standby, a couple of sets of those on standby, and I just find that the threes when they bought the threes out, they around the ankle and the Achilles area, they made it much softer. So when for myself, I'm quite light. So if I try and pull heavy weight or push heavy weight, my feet move quite a bit. So I just find that the Alpha Fly 2s for me offer that grip a little bit more.
So you talked about what you did. You were in the military, et cetera. Did you play sport growing up?
Yeah, when I was growing up, combat sports and soccer were my main sports. When I was younger, I sort of boxing and judo from the age of 8, and sort of really enjoyed that, and then continued that through. I had the opportunity at 16 to push on and play professional soccer, but on a sort of a development scheme. Um, but I was already part way through the military application process, so I decided to go that way instead, not knowing anything about the military.
So which level of football were you playing?
So, so at the time there was the sort of schemes. This quite a few years back. There was employment schemes. So I was going to go into, like, albeit as a youth, to top tier football.
So Premier.
Sorry, yeah. Mhm.
Okay. And then what made you join the military instead?
I was already through the application process. I'm so blasé about everything. It's just like, yeah, whatever. I'll do that. Let me go for that.
It
And I
seems it
think,
seems a lot less fun.
yeah, I think I'm very impatient, or I was really impatient when I was younger. And I think going in at a youth level, there's still no guarantees. Whereas joining the military, I sort of felt a little bit more security. I felt like there was a bit more security there and a bit more of a guarantee for me. I was very young, and I suppose at that late teens, you have everything worked out, right? You know everything. You didn't need to be told anything at all. So
Of
you
course
didn't need
not.
to be.
Do you have any regrets about it?
No, none at all. No, no. I spent 23 years in the British Army.
The sweetest smelling army in the world?
Yeah, but I've not heard that. No, I've not smelt that either. I've not witnessed that ever.
It's a Monty Python joke. Anyway, keep going.
Okay, yeah. And I reached the very top of any soldier's career, and I could have gone further, but decided I wanted to get out after 23 years and sample civilian life and see what I did there.
So, who were your boxing heroes growing up?
Mike Tyson was my absolute hero, but sort of eras before that, like all the four kings, Roberto Duran, and all of these, the yeah, I just even today's, some of today's boxers are just phenomenal. It's But one of my all time favorite fighters ever was Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. You know, it's and I think he's now taken over as the president of the Amateur Boxing Association. I do believe, and he's going to be pushing things for the Olympics because they've had some problems with the amateur and the the hierarchy there.
So do you keep up with mixed martial arts now?
I love watching MMA. Yeah, I watch all of the like UFCs, and I've been watching some of the really exciting women coming through through the one ranks and things like that. Like Dakota Ditchever and some of the others. I think it's really exciting, and I think what's really interesting is to see how far women have come in combat sports. When I started boxing and all through my sort of early years, women fighting, there was one, two, three, and then now all of a sudden we've got this explosion of women, and they seem to just put it all on the line every fight, and I love that.
What did you make of this first Paramount exhibition?
Um, Sort of, I don't know whether you would see it in a different way being in the States, like the live show, but we still had it on the broadcaster that we've always had it on, which TN
Okay.
Sports. So I think when we will see a difference when we see it being broadcast and the Paramount sort of production team are behind it. So what about yourself? What did you think?
So I am semi-casual fight
Yeah,
fan. When the big ones come up, I
yeah,
sometimes watch them. I can't
hmm,
stay up late anyway,
yeah,
so I just can't stay up late.
yeah,
I have a friend who's really into it, and he would always say, "Matt, you have to buy this card. I'm telling you, this one's going to be great." And then a
yeah.
month later,
Okay.
he'd be like, "Oh no, you got to buy this card."
Mhm.
But if there's a big enough one on, I might tune in. And so this was kind of a big deal, and I thought I'll watch on Paramount. Why not?
Mhm.
And I happened to stay up, and I did watch. Did I watch the fight that night? I think I did.
Yeah.
Um, but I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Some people thought there was too much advertising. I didn't realize they were now like selling every single fucking parcel of that apron. Like I
Yeah.
didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Does that any of that stuff bother you?
No, not really. I think like you, like I say, I am a fan, but I don't stop up overnight and watch it, or I pick it up the next day. So anything that's I just fast forward through pretty much. So yeah, like I say, I'm a big fan, but if they're like yourself again, if there are big fights and I'm really really looking forward to them, then maybe I would stop up.
And then who football wise? Who were your football guys?
Soccer. And again, when I didn't really have support anyone. I just loved the game. I loved watching the game, and when I was younger, if there was a soccer game on, I would watch the game. It's like I'm tuning in live. I'm watching this game, and again now, not so much. I don't.
I'm so surprised
Um,
to hear that because like America has sports teams that
mhm,
people love with based on where they're from, but there are people who live there who don't care at all. Like if
yeah,
you're like if you're from Wisconsin, you're probably a big Packers fan, but you might
yeah,
not be. But
mhm,
with football, your football, from what I understand, if you live in that fucking town, like that's your team, those are your
yeah,
boys. So I'm
yeah.
surprised to hear you say you didn't really have one.
Yeah, so I think when I grew up from sort of a very early years, um, the area that I grew up has four major teams in the high in the Midlands. You have Birmingham City, you have Aston Villa, you have Wolverhampton Wanderers, and you have West Bromwich Albion, and Coventry as well. You could include those, so five maybe. But yeah, those are the four main teams within that sort of county, if you like. It's quite a big county. It's Birmingham, which is the second behind London. So when I grew up, all of my family were supported one team, and then when I moved away, not too far away, but moved away, all of my friends supported their biggest rivals. So I was somewhere stuck in between of that, and I think that's why I never really chose a side to sort of support, but still love the game.
Right. All right. So back to fitness.
Mhm.
The the style you're doing now. So your website says, are you ready? Group
Yep.
training that actually delivers.
Yep.
Coach group workouts that build strength, movement, and discipline. And the website shows some lovely people in a field. We've
Mhm.
got some people doing some overhead stuff. We got somebody doing some weighted lunges.
Yep.
What I guess is your basic philosophy,
Mhm.
and has it always been this way, or is this newer as the hybrid stuff has taken off for you?
So we have sort of so the movements have always been there, right? It's like when I was in the military, a burpee broad jump was a traveling burpee. I was a
I'm
physical
going to start
training.
calling them that. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I was a physical training instructor, and that was one of my go to movements. Just to obviously with the military sort of mindset is a lot of what you do is to put the people who you're coaching under a little bit of pressure, both physically and mentally, and to see how they cope with that, and sort of, we called it character building, and just build people that way. It's like, because you can't go to war and not be prepared, both physically and mentally, because if you are, you're not only a danger to yourself, but you're a danger to the people that you are around. So we really held people to account there, and put people through the paces. Um, and and a lot of these movements, to call them functional, I don't know what, you can hear people scream, oh, functional is this, functional is that, but exercise is exercise, movement is movement. And if it's function, if you want to call it functional, call it functional. It's like going back to where, if you want to wear the shoes, call it what you want. Movements were movements, and if they were challenging, we probably did them. Leopard crawl, bear crawl, reverse crab walk, whatever. It's like where lateral crab walk, traveling burpees, whatever it lunges, wherever they were, we did them. So we when we initially started with battle group training, that sort of, not the military approach, but the military mindset and support, and understanding, was sort of, and community feel, like togetherness, and all supporting each other. Leave your ego there, because we're all doing this, and it doesn't matter what level you are, you're all going to be hurting, we're all going to be suffering, we're all going to work hard, and we're all going to support each other. So yeah, all of those movements were already in a lot of what we did. But then when HYROX came along, specifically HYROX, really, we had quite a few people jump on board with it, sparked an interest in a lot of people. So I saw an opportunity there and thought, we need to build on this. It's something that everybody can get involved with, and we, apart from the ergs and sleds, we actually do all of these movements as standard. So that's where a HYROX sort of was fitted into our programming, if you like.
What about what you all call yumping? We call it rucking. Are you into that at all?
Yomping. So yeah. So yomping is basically, that's a Marines, a Royal Marines term, and it's your own marching pace. And it's the same
That's
as
what it
rucking.
stands for. I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, your own marching pace. You put a weight on your back, and you yomp for, and that's what the Marines will call it. They will call it yomping. In the army, we call it tabbing, tactical advance to battle. So TAB, tab. It's a tab, tactical advance to battle, and it's the same thing, right? You put a weight on your back, and it's um it's part of the actual
Do you
annual
do you
training.
incorporate it into any of your training?
We used to quite a lot. We don't as much currently, but yeah, we used to quite a lot, and I think we will probably bring it back a little bit more. I know one of the venues in Birmingham, they do actually stick some weight on the back, and they go yomping or tabbing.
Yeah. So in America, there's this company GoRuck,
Yep.
and they sort of grew.
Hmm.
You kind of had three piles, if you will. You had CrossFit,
Yep.
OCR, and GoRuck. So
Yeah.
let's say CrossFit Spartan slash Tough
Mhm.
Mudder and Go Ruck, and they all sort of this path that went up, and it was never for me. Like
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of being yelled at. That's not motivational for
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
And just doing a bunch of PT and running
Mhm.
around, it like, just wasn't my thing. I
Yeah.
tried it, it just wasn't for me.
Mhm.
Um, but I've definitely like the idea of like putting a sandbag on my back and climbing up, hiking up a little
Yeah.
mountain. That's cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
But and it was huge though. Go Ruck was huge, and they were
Mhm.
who knows how many events every weekend, and it seems to
Mhm.
have dipped a bit. And
Oh, okay.
it sort of got into, I hate to say it, a little bit of cosplay. You know what I mean? People who
Okay.
kind of you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it also seemed to attract this idea of I guess I call it anti-fitness.
Mhm.
Like we're not jocks who go to the gym or run. We
Mhm.
drink beer and do this. It just
Yeah.
so it was just never for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, in America, it sort of petered off, and then I only heard the term yomping recently
Yeah.
as I never even knew it existed. We just always called it rucking.
Yeah.
And then you know, HYROX had a Go Ruck division for I don't know half a year. DECA
Okay.
still has it,
Yeah.
and the idea of just like, well, let's just make it harder. Let's put a
Mhm.
weight vest on. But I think it's always going to be a kind of a tinier percentage of the people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so. And I think it has quite a, the people that believe in it strongly believe in it, and the people that don't. It's that type of thing. Yeah. Our programs, we're not the screamy, shouty people. We really do. Um, so we talk about progress focused, and we really are. We want to see you go from this point here to this point here, and everything in the middle. That's all on you, and and that's where do you want to go? Do you want to go here? What does a win look like for you? And whatever a win looks like for any given individual, that let's work towards that. Let's keep our goals small. Let's keep them achievable, because when you stop achieving or you stop reaching your goals, they suddenly become unattainable. So let's have a big goal. Let's have a lot of achievable goals in between, and let's work. Let's use that pathway to improvement.
All right, I think that's a perfect place to stop, Mark. I think that's great.
Excellent, Matt. Thank you.
Oh, I meant to ask you real quickly. Um, have you done Deadly Dozen? Because Deadly Dozen is all those basic, weights, plates, and dumbbells. Have you done that?
No, we are intending to go as a group. We're intending to go and win the flags there. Yeah, that's our sort of that's what we do. We dominated Deca. We did Deca last year for the first time, and I think we had 12 podiums in total.
At in Derby?
Yep, in Derby. Yeah, yeah.
Nice job, nice
Um,
work.
so yeah, we try that, and then yeah, I think Jason Curtis, he used to be in the military actually.
Yes, I
Uh,
know. That's why I was one of the reasons I was asking you. Good guy.
yeah, so yeah, I'll reach out to Jason. I did a little bit of consultancy work with JP and the team there at Ramfit
Oh,
last
really?
year. And we reached out to Jason to see if he wanted to get involved, and at the time it just wasn't the time for him. He was
Right.
focusing on pushing Deadly, but now I believe that he's affiliated with DECA, affiliated with HYROX, and he's got his Deadly Dozen. And his academy looks brilliant, looks really really
The
good.
Institute of Fitness, he's calling it.
The Institute of Fitness, that's the one. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
well,
So Trika, have you seen Trika? They picked up the Rams. They're the first
yeah,
race actually besides DECA.
that's in Ireland, right? That's
Yes.
yeah, that's in Ireland, yeah. And that
Um,
looks interesting as well. And there's a new one that a few of our girls went to this weekend called Metrics, and it's like it's four ergs, row, ski, bike erg. Okay, so three ergs, 10 minutes in partners, 10 minutes on each. You go as far as you can. 4 minutes in between each station, and then the final station is sled push and shuttle sprints for 10 minutes non-stop. All in like a disco vibe
yeah,
type thing.
I've heard of them. I actually had them on the show once upon a time. I think they want to kind of get the younger folks. But yeah, I own some Rams. I've talked to JP a lot. I like him a lot. And
Yeah, good guy.
interestingly enough, Deca just decided you could do a Deca with dumbbells instead of
Bells. Yeah,
Rams,
yeah.
which I suppose is a good idea if they're trying to get more gyms. If that was the
Mhm.
sticking point,
Yeah,
I kind of liked it. I think that's what made Deca was the Rams,
yeah.
but we'll see. I guess.
I agree, and I agree with it, with with the point.
Do you know what Ram stands for?
Recycle and move. Yeah.
All right, so I was hoping I was going to teach you something because you taught me that yumping actually meant something. Most people don't know what Ram means; they just think it's a Ram because it's a good
Well, I
name.
did do consultancy work selling rams for them for a while, and
Oh,
did a bit
really?
of,
Okay, all right. Well,
yeah,
then
and worked with Decker and Yancey and the team, and more so the team in UK. It's just like getting obviously preparing for Decker coming to UK, because we used to just see Decker online. It was just a thing that was done in the States, and we were like, come on, let's go. It's and I think some of the sticking points were the weights, because obviously in UK, for whatever reason, in weight terms we use kilograms, even though we are an imperial miles and pounds. We sort of lost that somewhere along the line, and we now work in kilograms. And obviously in the States it's all pound, and some of the kit that you use, I think it was the heavy ball, for instance, was 20 whatever weight it was, but it worked out to 27 kilograms in the UK, and you can't get 27-kilogram balls in the
right.
UK. So there were sticking points there.
All
I
right.
think
Well,
there
listen.
were.
All right. I'm glad we got to do this. Good talk, Mark.
Yeah, really nice to chat to you, Matt, and nice to actually talk to you in real life as opposed to just watching you on a podcast.
All right. Let me take you off record here.